try to avoid early repayment fees if remortgaging. So it doesn't necessarily mean because you've got a cheaper mortgage rate that that's the best thing to do. You might be tied in and you don't want to be tied in, otherwise it'll restrict you from recycling and moving on. Another mortgage company can be better with a different surveyor because they can find it hard to justify the valuation. So what I mean by that, and it can actually work both ways this. I have had it where I've renovated a property and a valuer's come back out, and because they've seen that it's now 50, 60 grand more than what you bought it for, I have seen it a few times where you get a bit of a jealous valuer. But sometimes it has worked in my benefit as well, where the same person's come out and went, wow, I can't believe it's the same property, you've done a cracking job. So it can work the other way as well. The point I want to make with this is you won't always get the valuation that you want. And if you don't get that valuation, sometimes you're better off. You can appeal it, but being honest from experience, you very rarely get anywhere because they don't want to admit that they've made a mistake, even if you can show them evidence. Sometimes it's better to just pay for another valuation if you believe that you're right. Don't just do it for the sake of it. If you've got hard evidence there and you honestly think that you've been a bit hard done by, then sometimes it's best to pay for another val. On this building, how much do you think the valuations were on this? 6,000. So I had a valuation on this. He came out, I'd spent at the time about 1.2 million on it, I think, at the time, and bought it for 200. So I was at 1.4-ish. That was with all of the works and it was well on the way. And he said that the back end value when I finished it was going to be 1.2 million when it was fully complete, which would have meant that I would have been worse off for doing all of the works, which was absolutely ridiculous. So I then had to pay for another valuation, which was another 6 grand. So I'm now at 12 grand on 2 valuations. Second valuer on the train bumps into valuer 1, hasn't seen him for a while. Hey, I've not seen you for a while. Where are you going? Oh, I'm going to Redcar, a valuer commercial. Oh, I was over there recently. Whereabouts? Tells him the address, tells him what he values it at, and he went and valued it at exactly the same thing, and he actually went and told me that if I questioned it, he was going to put a nil valuation on it. It's probably illegal. Probably you can't even do that. So I had to pay for a third valuation. I'm now at £18,000 just for valuations. And the third one came back at 2.7 million. So the valuers went from 1.2 mil to 2.7. All RICS approved. The second one bumped into that, the other guy. The valuation was never 1.2, and I think 2.7 was actually high. So I had it at about 2.2 million. That was probably where it should have been. So based off my experience, and I won't ever try and make something better or worse than what it is, I'll look at it for its true value. So comparing it to apartments that I've sold next door, I've got a perfect example of what they are, what square meters they are, and I think it should have been about 2.2. It certainly shouldn't have been 1.2, and 2.7 I think was fucking generous. But can you see the point I'm making? So I'm not saying you're going to have that where you're going to have 18 grand's worth of surveys, but if you're paying 500, it's sometimes worth paying another 500 to get another val, but only if you know that you've got evidence. I knew that this wasn't 1.2. I knew it was ridiculous. It actually came out a bit later that the valuers that done it, and this came from someone very close to me, the guy went and said that the reason they downvalued it was they were actually selling this building. It got taken off them, went to a local estate agent. I bought it off the local estate agent 4 months later, so they had a bit of shitty on that they didn't get the sale on it because he was one of the directors in the business. So that was, I got the backlash of that. And unfortunately, you're dealing with people, and that people are emotional creatures at all levels. You can help with a justification with an independent valuation. Always get pictures before and after, and keep all of your expenses. It can take time for this, for the property to register on land registry. So when you sell the property, it won't instantly register on land reg. It can take 4 months or even longer.